part of our lives, and my life, at least growing up here.
Just one. Gray whale and one orca. It's been pretty rough.
Were you up to bottom fishing or what?
I was trying to get some link shots. We were going to go offshore. It was
Yeah, that's a non-starter right there.
You know, he has 3 daughters, and all 3 of them and their families. You know, got the Phillips got spots right next to each other. 3 trains in a row. All the grandkids running there.
Oh, perfect. That's perfect.
It's a long way out there.
They used to think that was like Fort Apache, but tried actually owns that.
Okay. And you were going to go out there and camp.
It's all booked.
Yeah, everything last weekend was booked up out there.
Because they're building a new dock.
Thank you so much. We're very proud to be here. We spend our time working to save dolphins and whales and make sure they live free and wild lives. Now, how many saw Free Willy, the movie Free Willy? This movie helped inspire a generation of young people to realize that orca whales deserve to be wild and free. I'm going to tell you a few things that SeaWorld doesn't want you to hear, doesn't want you to know. Because 2 weeks ago, I was down and we were testifying before the Assembly in California for a landmark bill that would prohibit the breeding, capture, import, display, captivity of orca whales. Very important, very important. And SeaWorld, they were apoplectic. They were freaking out. They can't believe that attention is focused on them because of blackfish and everything else. And they said, they won't change. They won't stop the marine circus. They say it's impossible. Whales can't be returned to sea pens. Whales can't be returned to the wild. That's what they say. We say they're dead wrong, and I know why. Because we've done it. We took Keiko. We took Keiko, a whale down in Mexico City in a very small, cramped tank, the smallest tank an orca has been in. And we rescued him. And we brought him to Newport, Oregon, where we built a facility there. Right down the road from here. A place where people could see him and rescue and see rehab in action. And no performances, nobody riding on his back. And then, SeaWorld said it couldn't be done. We took him to a sea pen in Iceland. And he brought him back to his natural waters, where he could swim and hear the sounds of the wild ocean. And then, amazingly enough, Keiko swam with wild whales, swam his way to Norway. He swam to be a wild whale. So, if it can be done with Keiko, I guarantee you it could be done with every other captive orca whale in the world. It can be done. When SeaWorld says it can't be done, what they mean is we're making too much money on the backs of orca whales that have been ripped from their families and should be returned to the wild. Now, another dark secret that SeaWorld doesn't want you to know. They say the whales that we have are happy. We're their ambassadors. But the reality is most of these parks are getting their dolphins and their whales from places like Taiji, Japan, where they're catching them and they take the prettiest ones and bring them to a life in captivity, and the rest they kill. Okay? So this is a dirty secret that SeaWorld doesn't want you to know. This is what we fight for all day long, to have whales and dolphins in the wild where they belong. How many people have seen blackfish? Blackfish is peeling back the veil and showing what's really happening at SeaWorld. How many people saw the Cove? The Cove is showing what's behind the capture and killing of dolphins in Japan. These are things that have to stop, and that's what makes it so exciting that people are getting so turned on, through the musicians, through tonight, that you all are here to help us in that quest. And I want to say something about some of the people that are here performing tonight, because they are not only rock stars, which is great in their own right, but they are heroes for orcas. Ann and Nancy Wilson they stood up to SeaWorld. It's not easy to do. They were going to perform at SeaWorld, and then they told SeaWorld, no dice, we won't play.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just one band that did that. It became 3, it became 5, it became 10 bands that said, we won't play at SeaWorld. And in a couple minutes, you're going to hear from Joan Jett. Joan Jett found that they were using her music to blast into the orca whale pools for their shows. And she wrote them and said, no, take my music out of this show.
Yeah.
Ariel, who you just heard up here, 23-year-old, she was over in Taiji watching the Cove with Rick O'Berry, who's on our team. We're working down in Berkeley, California is where we're headquartered. We're so proud to be a recipient of the efforts tonight. And we're working to make the world safe for orcas and dolphins, and we rely on your help. Watch Cove, watch Blackfish, get involved. We can turn this around. We can make the world safe for orcas. You guys can help us do it. Thank you so much.
Stop the flashes and still standing out a sailor's dream, cruising around on the salty sea, joining up with a fishing crew to go and get a whale or two. Tell me what kind of men are these that sail upon the salty seas, up in the rig in the afternoon, chopping harpoons. Hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises early in the morning. There are lots of whales in the deep blue sea. We kill them for the industry. Drag them alongside, chop them in two, melt them down, sell it to you. Hardly is a sailor alive who can keep the tears from his eyes as he remembers the good old days when there were no whales to save. Thank the Russians and Japanese for scouring the deep blue seas, looking for ivory and perfume, plastic toys and pet food. Hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises, hooray, up she rises early in the morning.
It's already great. Unreal to see you all here. First, I want to express on behalf of Orca, I want to express our heartfelt thanks to everyone who put this fabulous event together. What you're doing is a huge help to our work at Orca Lab, which is based on the philosophy that it's possible to study whales in the wild without interfering with their lives. Sometimes the exquisite sounds they make take us into the ether, and we get to feel the chase when they hunt salmon, and we get to see the joy that they have when they meet old friends. It's an incredible experience for us, but always in the back of our minds are thoughts about the missing. And I want to tell you about one of the missing. Her name's Corki. Corki has been in captivity for almost 45 years. Incredible. she was captured at a time when we knew virtually nothing about orcas, except that they were worth money when captured. And she has endured. She and I have something in common. We share home. But Corki was taken away from her family in 1969. This was the era that we call the gold rush in orca captivity. During the next few years, nearly 70 orcas were taken away from
Today, I had to turn my heart away. Smile like the sun, kisses for everyone, and tears, it never fails. That's all the breath that we have. I bet you're gonna have to stay. You have
That's all barracuda. They're usually solitary fish.
Psychedelic.
They don't school.
Like something from a dream. Thought I was having too much lifespan. Yeah, that's the
You should have
guy.
told me
Yeah.
it's not so bad getting old if you can go to a rock concert once in a while. Wow.
Yeah.
I prepared a little talk, but I'll probably lose it here. Getting old does have a memory issue and sometimes a seeing issue. But people, as we see here, do music the best. Although some of my whale friends may disagree with me. In this amazing of the setting of the Sky Church, I think they'd accept the context and agree with the statement. And they'd be delighted to know that this music is for them. I want to take this opportunity to thank the organizers and sponsors of this really historic event.
Yeah.
And all you folks who are making it possible. And especially want to thank the fabulous musicians and entertainers who have generously contributed their time and talent to the cause for the whales. What we are all simply saying is that we want our whales free, we want them healthy,
Yes!
and we want them here in the Salix Sea.
Yes!
All right, they are our totems and indicators of a healthy marine ecosystem, and we welcome them back to that role which much of our society has too long forgotten. When I began studying whales in the early 1960s, I took along a camera to capture images of their magnificence, some of you see here. In the 70s, I and others realized that with photographs we could identify them individually, and with time we could learn about their lives. What we are now learning humbles us. Humans are not the only animals on this planet to have enduring families, societies, cultures and compassion, communication and music. Some of them went digital long before we did. 3 minutes of my jabbering up here on stage is not enough time for me to share with you their magnificence and what we've learned, but it is enough time for me to invite you to come and see them, by land or by sea, and learn much about them from professional naturalists and interpreters. The Pacific Whale Watch Association, one of the sponsors here, will take folks out for respectful observing of whales from vessels, and there's excellent land-based viewing of whales from parks and lookouts on the west side of San Juan Island, or from Soup Point and other locations on Vancouver Island, and there are also many opportunities to see whales from Washington State ferries and posted points along the whale trail. I really wish my mom could be here. She was a musician. She'd be absolutely thrilled. She raised 3 boys playing in piano bars and restaurants almost every night of her life, and she practiced every day. These people are amazing, and I grew up to the sound of piano playing and the happy mirth of musicians doing what they do best. Now I was going to paraphrase Country Joe a little bit and lead in a spelling of F-I-S-H, but I got thrown out of music class when I was 8 years old, so I'm not even going to risk it. But that was going to lead me into fish. Our resident whales here eat fish, primarily Chinook salmon. And I'm in church now. I would have 3 wishes. 1, to restore native Chinook runs throughout their foraging range as much as possible. And as possible. I was in the Navy for a number of years, and I've taken them on a little bit. We do have to stop bombing and sonar blasting in their critical habitat. We have to. And that's my cue to end it up here. I want to end up with a plea for Lolita. She can be retired. She can be returned.
Yeah.
It's all possible, and we can do it.
Lolita.
So why not? Thank you.
Now we're on the spot.
One morning I woke up your dues and carry on.
Well, yeah.